Welcome to the Embodiment and Accountability Podcast, Episode 16 on a healing relationship with my beautiful friend Vera. We're just going to be waiting on her, and she's here. And just
Me? Can you hear? Oh my goodness. Hi.
it worked.
I'm so excited. This is a first for me. So yay.
I'm so happy that you're joining me. Thank you so much.
Oh, so fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh, and so excited for what you have to share today. So,
Hmm.
would you like to start by maybe telling us a little bit about yourself?
I would. That's like a big question, right?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna but I'm gonna narrow it right down. So great to see you, and thank you for inviting me. It's really just my pleasure. I am Vera Knight, and I'm a writer, and I'm actually a truth teller. I like to call myself a truth teller, and I speak the kind of truth that actually sets people free. I'm a woman who's been through the fire, and I actually came out, at this stage of the game, at 67, I'll put that out there, right? 67, with my voice intact. And I help other women stop running from whatever demons or whatever stories they've been telling themselves and really start to heal what actually hurts. And that starts with the relationship that they have with themselves. So that's who I am and what I do right now, currently.
That. Yeah, and I love that also that we get give that permission to ourselves that it's okay to shift, to change, to
Oh my
evolve, to
God.
grow, to whatever. But yeah, I love that. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
And yeah, I do feel that the work that you're doing is really powerful and potent and I don't know if a lot of people are talking about this or not, but I just feel like your voice is so I don't know, just powerful and really, I don't know the words, but I don't know. It just resonates with me, even though
Yeah.
it might not be something that I've lived through the same way that you did, but some of the
Hmm.
things that you share and the way you share it, it talks to
Mm.
me. So I'm just like, yeah, this is so good.
Oh my God, thank you. And that's what truth is all about, right? It's my truth, but it's your truth too, because it's the human experience. It doesn't matter what the situation was that gave us those feelings that we try and run away from, right? The feelings of inadequacy or, I'm not worthy or all the things, right? That's the conversation we're having in the world, but this brings it to a different layer, right? This peels it back even further because that's the truth of it. And when you speak the truth, it resonates. There's no fluff around my truth.
No, it's really authentic. Yeah.
It goes straight to the heart, and that's what people say. It's like a missile that exploded me open in the best possible way. And I just love that. I love that it has that reaction in the people that are reading it. It's actually mind blowing. And it's creating this movement of women that are coming together and going, yes, like you said, I resonate with that. My story is different, but wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I would like to move to our subject of healing relationships and
Mm.
maybe talk a little bit about that. We're I know, I know a little bit about your story, but to the audience here and
Yeah.
maybe just share one or two relationship that you were able to heal, even if it was a relationship with yourself. Um, so yeah, if you'd like to share a little about that.
Yeah, you bet. I love that question. And honestly, the answer is every single one of my relationships is different,
Mhm.
right? It's different, and not in a fairy tale kind of a way, like, oh my God, everybody loves each other, kumbaya, bullshit. No, that's not what this kind of healing is about, right? My relationship with my kids, with my husband, with the people that are closest in my life, they've all changed because I changed, and that's the thing. Healing, like, what isn't about fixing them, to make our relationship, what I think it's supposed to be. It's about doing the work in me. Like, that's where the shift really comes from. And, the one thing when I wrote a book, a collaboration book a few years ago called Empowering Women with Words. And in that chapter, it's kind of like my a memoir of my story, the overarching story that brings me here. Something that came from that work was my how you've changed since I changed. And that's when I started studying energy work and realizing that the change was because my energy was changed, and they were responding differently because I had a different energy about me, and that changed our conversation and it grew from there. So yeah, it's me. The relationship that changed was me, and that changed everything.
I
Did
love
I answer the question?
I think so. I feel like it's so important to
Yeah,
get back to, yeah, that truth of I need to heal the relationship with myself, and then it will emanate throughout all of my
yes,
relationships around me. And like not fixing, not trying to fix others,
yeah,
but just, like look at what's already present in me and work with that. Sometimes it
yes.
need fixing, but it's just having the awareness and then going through of like, oh, like why is this way, and what can I do to either like change it or make it better or whatever, right?
Accept it, release it, move it through so it doesn't keep on spinning us in the same loop. And that's the problem. We think we got it, but we don't got it, because it's
God.
not a getting thing. It's a
Yeah.
it's a feeling and a processing thing. It's like two different things. They're both necessary, but we've done the thinking thing. And now we need to do the feeling thing. It's like just the next level. And that's the part that I think is missing from a lot of the work that's out in the world today. We're still in the mindset. We're still trying to think our way through our problems and, think of how we're going to get to where we want to go instead of just being and feeling it. Because when that truth comes through, oh my God, it changes everything.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah. And with that also, I mean, it's not like all unicorns and rainbows when we start to feel those
No,
things. So I feel like I understand why we don't necessarily want to go there, and why
absolutely.
like keeping our distance from feeling things, because it's like doesn't feel safe, because it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna feel that hurt again, I'm gonna feel this again, and I don't want to feel that. That doesn't feel safe for me.
Right. And there's no easy way through it. When we start thinking that we can make this an easy process, feeling those deeply buried things, especially if they've been buried for decades. Some of this stuff has been buried for decades for some of us. And it takes work and it takes repetition, and we have to keep coming back to it. And it's like, I mean, the easiest way to explain it for me is that, this work, this breathing and connecting and allowing it to process through, it's become the operating system.
Mhm.
It's like kind of replaced that old operating system, but it didn't just happen. It took years of being in the practice. And that's it. Once it starts, though, once you actually get started in the right path, it changes everything. But we want to spin right here, looking for the easy answer. Tell me what to do.
Easy way
Yes.
out.
Right. We got to get off that circle in the mountain. How many times are we going to the mountain? 6 decades right here. So, yeah,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
crazy. So good.
I know. Thank you for that. I love it. What was your biggest takeaway from from this experience, of like healing your relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've
Um,
touched a little on that of, like
I
seeing the effect on all of your relationships, but yeah.
right. Well, you know what, in a nutshell, I think it kind of like boils down to like the experience, the takeaways for me, right? Is what's come from this is three things. Is we already said it. Number one is you have to feel to heal, right? We can't think our way there. The brain is a meaning making machine, and we want answers and we want to figure it out, but we have to feel it. So that's number one. Number two is that it's the process, right? We have to be able to trust the process. And what is the process? Well, my process is my process, and your process is going to be your process. But when we come together and we get to talk about what works and what we did, and we're able to put in certain things like breath work and energy work and somatic work and movement and sounding and all the things, when we know that we're not crazy, that these tools really make a difference. And we start to use them and trust them. And not all of them are going to be for us,
Yeah.
But what I like to say is don't dismiss it before you actually, see what it can do for you. Because I was conditioned to avoid certain things because that was that, that not to bring religion into the conversation because that's a whole other conversation I love to have. But I was conditioned, certain things could bring in the devil, could bring in evil spirits, to avoid them. And those are the very things that God finally said. You see, God told me use all the tools. And when he said that to me, I was going, what do you mean, God, use all the tools? Like, I was afraid of the tools. And he
Mhm.
dropped them in my path. And I took the ones that worked. And those are the ones I teach. And it's changed not only my life, but my clients' lives. So finding and using all the tools and then collecting the ones that work for you and put them kind of in this, like, it's kind of like almost they're in a flow, right?
Mhm.
Depending on what it is depending on what tool comes in or into my awareness. I remember it and I go, oh, there it is. And I could,
Yeah. I,
right? So developing your own process. And then the third thing is support, being with women and other people that are on a journey as well.
yeah.
And you know them when you find them. You really do, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So that was my biggest experience is, those three things. Feel it, develop a process and try all the tools and do it in support and community.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much.
Mm,
That was like, I wanted to add like another question because I feel like that is like one of my favorite subjects. I feel much like support and community. And like for you, what was it like, going through all of these processes and just
mm,
this healing with your relationship with yourself, and then, eventually healing a lot of your relationships with your family and people around you. Like, what was it like, or like how did you find the people, just like you've mentioned,
mm.
and like what was it like, yeah, your experience with support
You
for
know, that again, that's such a big question, right? I was 61 years old. It was 6 years ago. I was diagnosed with endometrial cancer and I had it removed. So I did not, suffer with that, but a couple of radiation treatments. And during that process, I had a complete meltdown where I quit my job. I didn't quit my job. I was self-employed. I was a coach. I had a 25-year fitness career helping women with mindset work and behavior modification and all the things. And it was quite an amazing 25-year career until the cancer. And then I sent all my clients an email and I quit on them. I said, I've taught you everything I know and I'm done. It's been my honor, and I quit. And that's when God started to really work on me. And he brought me to my knees in what I call a near-death experience on the bathroom floor. But again, that's another story where he told me to use all the tools. So that began my process. But I was really on my own in the beginning with me and Google and, finding like sound healing and all these things. And then I met breath work. I found breath work and and the pause breathwork experience became my community, which is where I met you. And I was going through this process, not even knowing, pretty much on my own, right? And then when I finally met those people, and I started to hear other people's experiences, I realized I wasn't on my own. And boy, did I get, expand from that, because now I was with people who had gone before me, right? And could show me, and I was willing to learn. And that's what I do. I take people who were like going, what is it? What do I do? Tell me more, because this information, it's out there, but they're still spinning in that self-help. I got to do more, be more, whatever, and yeah, so that's I don't know where I was going with that, but but that's how I found my community. And then from there I changed my own voice, because it evolved, right? I'm not about fitness anymore, because fitness is a natural result of healing your relationship with yourself. Because
Mm.
once I healed that, then my fitness just kind of, I don't want to say it took care of itself. I still have to make choices, and I still have to do the workout, but I move differently. I
Yeah.
move differently now than I did then, when I was pounding my body trying
Mm.
to be skinny. And now I just treat my body like, the beautiful, amazing temple that it is. And however many years I have left, boy, this baby is going to take me to the end. Exactly.
Yeah.
As a result of just treating it with respect.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just all, it's like you can't separate it out, right? It's all part of the human experience. And we want to separate it out. We want to get the quick fixes, and now there are so many quick fixes out there,
Yeah. But
Oh
are they
God.
working?
No, this is what, this, like I live, breathe, and sleep preaching, healing your own self and your own heart, and coming back to yourself, and just doing that work until it becomes who you truly are. That's embodiment,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and like integrating all of the tools and practices that you've been, not collecting, but learning along the.
Learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not perfecting, because every time it's different,
Yeah.
but when those experiences come now, and I go, wait a minute, I feel something, and sometimes I even have to stop and hold on, because honestly, once you get in the practice of it, right? Once it becomes part of who you are, 30, 60, 90 seconds, whatever that emotion that's could pull you out, right? To go eat the bag of cookies, or make the phone call that you don't want to make, or, whatever it is, you don't have to get pulled out. You could stay right here and always making the right choice, the next better choice.
Yeah. And it becomes like that beautiful, like devotional practice of not doing it because you have to, but doing it because it feels so much better every time.
Absolutely. 100% right. Because when that other feeling, once you recognize it, once you get, it's like through the tunnel, right? You know it immediately,
Hmm.
and you go, and then it's like a split second almost. Which way am I going to go? You
Yeah.
know?
And I feel like that's where people who have gone through like things like that, that's where they say like, oh, it gets to be easy. And you're like, how? Like you're
Yeah,
still going through hard things throughout your life.
absolutely.
That's like the process that gets to be easier and easier because you're
Yes,
more used to doing it, or like the pathway in your brain is like, oh, now I know I can do this, instead of just going
exactly.
back to where it doesn't feel good, right?
Exactly, exactly. And is it perfect and 100%? No. Do we always slip up a little bit? Yes. You know, but, and I just had an experience with somebody a couple of weeks ago. We were collaborating on something, and it wasn't going well, and I kind of lost my cool. And,
What?
and oh, totally. I lost my cool, and, and it was like, and the truth of it is, I'm sorry for the way I showed up in the moment, but the things that I said, I'm not sorry for, because they were truth and they needed to be said. And then the relationship shifts because of that, and if the other person receives it and they think about it and, it lands and it could maybe shift them as well, or they could put their resistance up and, do this, but that's their choice. And I have no control over that. I only
Exactly.
had control about how I showed up, what I said, and how I handle myself afterwards. I could shrink down and go, oh my God, be a coward, or I could say, no, I said what I had to say, maybe not graciously,
Yeah,
as I would have liked to, but it was still the truth that needed to be said. So yeah, it just changes the way we show up in all situations. Yeah.
I love
Even
it.
after the fact.
Yeah. Well, I feel like when you're starting out, I feel like it's most often after the fact because you have to have like that bigger awareness like when it's happening, but then
Yes.
to like recalibrate yourself and know like when you can make different choices. And sometimes it's after the fact, unfortunately, like most of the
Exactly.
time when you're starting out. And so but
Yes.
that's just like a way to be like, oh, okay, so next time maybe I'll catch it like a split
Maybe it's
second before, and then maybe the next time after, but it's also like in the way that you're, like you said, showing up after and be like, okay, like, listen, I didn't handle this the right way, but like you said, but the things that I've said, they were true. So
yes.
like the message was authentic. It's just like the way it was presented that was maybe a little, but and so I feel like people will better respond to that than to just be like, well, this is what it is, and I don't give a shit about you,
Well, exactly. And you know what? This is what I call leadership, self-leadership,
Mm,
right? Because we're all leading something. And if we're not leading ourselves, in this area and recognizing it, then what are we really doing?
yeah,
We're spinning in the loop.
yeah,
We're spinning in the loop. But once you get out of the loop, you really, like you said, that split second sooner. And before you know it, then it just
yeah,
replaces and you're always able to be right there. Yeah,
exactly.
it's so
And,
good.
and like taking responsibility for
Hmm.
how you react in the moment, and that's just unfortunate, but that's what happened because that's how you wired yourself up throughout the years. And like for protectors, and we know artwork and things like that, and so that's just normal, even though it's not like the best way. But for
Exactly.
like when we're learning things, and like you said, we're going to be learning until we freaking die. That's amazing.
Exactly. That's the conditioning, and we're always breaking it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a spiral. Like when you're like doing one loop, you're just going deeper into like another loop. So like maybe it's not going to be like the same situation, but it's going to be like with that same um lesson. And so like you're just like deepening it, or like having that onion peeled and just going layers through layers, and
Yeah.
just refining it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for that. I would like
Mm.
to ask you to talk about your book and your offers if you'd like.
I would love to talk a little bit about my book. The name of it is Don't Wait Till Your Mother is Dead. And it comes out in September. And I know I'm super excited. It's like so good. And like, the response I've gotten so far has been absolutely stunning. And it's raw and it's real. And it's really for anybody, especially women who are ready to break the cycles like that we've been talking about and come home to themselves, and find that deeper connection, that truth within, because that's the truth. That truth is your connection to, the divine, the creator, whatever you want to call them, and our source of intuition and our wisdom. It's all the things, it's not pigeonholed into, any certain belief. We all have it. It's the human experience, and that's the beauty of the book. Is it just speaks raw and real into that.
Yeah.
And I also lead a membership. We're starting a movement with this work. Right now it's called A Legacy in Motion, and it really is for women navigating estrangement, because that's a big topic in my heart, like this family estrangement that's going on in the world. But it really, whether it's family estrangement, friends, whatever it is, it's still self-estrangement is what it is at the base of it, right?
Yeah.
So we still have to, and I say have to, nobody wants to have to anything, but we have to get to ourselves first,
Mm-hmm.
the truth inside. And that's where the real healing begins, not in bypassing, not in, fluffy journal writing and saying, okay, I'm over it, or I'm just going to cut that off and be done. It doesn't work that way, We got to go through the hard stuff. And that's what this is about.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's so good.
Yeah. Or pointing fingers of like, oh, that's their fault.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. No, my how you've changed since I've changed. And that's what you learn in this book. It's an energetic experience. It's really very powerful.
yeah, I love that. And like, I don't remember like where I saw that, but it was like really a powerful thing for me to recognize, like when you're pointing finger, you're actually pointing like three finger at you. So you're like,
Three coming back. That's
yeah,
right.
exactly. And so like, what should you be looking at yourself in that situation? Like, what is it? Like, what's your lesson here? What's the bigger picture? What's in it? Like, what's going on inside of you that is not helping the situation, or that, because I don't want to say that it's always everything is always our fault, but in relationships it's pretty much most of the time 50-50. So like what aren't you looking at while you're looking at someone else, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. There's always a lesson for me and for thee, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm not taking your lesson. I only want my own. Like, what am I supposed to learn here? What really wants to come through here? What is asking to be revealed within me? Like for me, it was inferiority. Like, what inferiority am I like feeling about myself because of the way this interaction is going, you
Mhm.
know? And instead of looking at you saying you shouldn't talk to me that way, I'm looking at myself and saying, no, what is that about?
Mm.
It's such a more powerful way to approach it, because then I can not control it, because this isn't a control issue even with ourselves, but I could let that go through. And then what follows behind that is the truth,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
That no, I get that,
Yeah.
and I can be okay to move on in either direction,
And you're not
Yeah.
way
You
to,
what?
and you're not giving your power away to the
Yeah,
situation or like to the person's
exactly.
behavior or whatever, right?
Exactly, exactly. So good. And it's so deep, and that's why this conversation has to go on and on. It's not a one and done situation,
Mhm.
You can't hear something and go, I get that. You have to stay in the conversation and deepen the conversation,
Mhm.
because we get it, and then we settle into it, and then we can go deeper.
Yeah.
It's a process. Like, we want to go from 0 to 60, and we have to titrate, right? Isn't that the language that we use? I use 0 to 60. I want to go 0 to 2, then to 4, before I get to 60.
Hmm.
Same difference.
Yeah, because otherwise, if we try to like you said, like move too fast and like um have some steps that we're not doing because we're trying to like bypass and
Yeah.
move
Bypass.
faster, and then it's just it doesn't have the same effect because you didn't go through everything that you had to go
Exactly.
through, and maybe your nervous system was not ready to like go to that last level, like the
That's
capacity,
okay.
or, and so, yeah,
It takes time. That's right.
yeah,
It just takes time. So we just keep going, doing the thing.
yeah. Oh, you're so amazing. I love you
Yeah,
so.
thank you. Thank you so much. It was so fun.
Yay. Where can people find you?
Ooh, they could find me. The best way, if you want to say anything to me, and I would love to hear your story, is just DM me either on Instagram or Facebook. I'm easy to find. Vera Knight. Um, I'm everywhere. So, no, I'm not everywhere, but I think I'm everywhere. I'd like to be in more places than I am.
Well,
Anyway, yeah,
you're
Vera Knight, just find me if you I would love to hear um I love when people just message me. It's been like really amazing, right? That people just message me and just tell me kind of like you did. It resonates. My story is completely different, but it resonates, and I want to share this with you. And I'm like, oh my God, and that's just from a few words, a chapter or two. So I know, and once you get that whole book, oh my goodness, it's so
yeah.
powerful.
And I love that, what you've mentioned about, going deeper in your own relationship, and because that's really where healing starts, with our own selves. And so that's like the only thing almost that we
Exactly.
do, right? We can only work on ourselves, and then the
Like
rest
I
control.
Because my, how you've changed since I've changed. You see how it always comes back to that, working on myself, healing that changes everything.
Yeah, I love
So, yeah.
that so much.
Thank you so much.
That was so fun.
It was fun. I really appreciate you and doing this. It was a blast. I look forward to seeing you on the next calls
Yeah,
around.
yeah, me too. And I'm so
As
excited for your book. This,
Thank you. Oh, I should have dropped the link. Maybe I'll drop the link in the
yep,
comments
yeah,
below. All
definitely.
right, I'll do that. See, I'm learning as we go, right? Launching a book is like, what? All the things you have to know that I didn't know, and you just do, right? You just in the process, and you go, oh, I could do that. Oh, got it. I'll do that too. Wait, you want me to do what?
Oh,
So thank you. I'll see you soon.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.